So this morning I'm teaching from my indoor studio at Napasio Creek Farm. And find a seat on your mat, wherever you are in the world, and find your breath. And I think we may have some new folks joining today, so welcome. And honoring that in Zoom yoga and in any yoga, you can choose what works for you and what doesn't, and opt out. And the beautiful thing about Zoom yoga is nobody's watching. And so you get to choose, and it's a great place to practice non-judgment. And so with that, today's theme is going to be about dropping in to presence and also peace and pleasure. And this came up because someone asked me at a retreat this week, what is dropping in mean? And what that means in mindfulness is bringing your mind and body into the same place at the same time. And when you drop into your body, you get out of your head. And very often it's a restful place. And so this practice of dropping in, we can practice as we practice yoga, getting out of all the stories and the noise and just dropping into your body. And so that's my invitation today, to practice that. So find your body here now in this moment and find your breath. And notice your ischial spines on the earth as you find a comfortable seat. Tilt your pelvic bowl forward and grow tall. Grow your spine one vertebrae atop the other, lifting your heart and bringing in the breath to wrap that heart with the breath. And a huge exhale, let it out. And flip your palms open in a more receptive spot, wiggling fingers, closing the eyes if they are open. I find that closing eyes helps you drop into the here and the now much more easily. We stop scanning and having quite so much input, and connecting to the now. It's very powerful. Noticing as you close eyes how you feel. And breathe in through your nose and out through your mouth. And we'll bring a hand to heart and another hand to top, enjoying that bit of oxytocin release and connecting to your heart space in the here and now. Bringing it all into one spot. And notice what feels good and maybe what doesn't. Breathe in and have your chest rise, and out. Let it fall. And as an invitation this morning, I'm going to read one of my favorite passages, which I've read a few times in yoga before, but very apropos for dropping into the here. If you take the T away from the word there, you get the word here. Here and there are really very similar to the I, and yet they are so extremely far apart in reality. As a culture, we are taught to strive for there. When I get there, all my problems will be solved and life will be so much better. But every time we get there, it is like the proverbial carrot dangling in front of us. There is always a new there to get to. If we are always trying to get to there and not dropping down into here while getting to there, we are out ahead of ourselves and missing the joy of living in the here. Being here has to be practiced every day. You can't get here if you are always practicing getting there. In the rush and tumble of everyday life, drop the T as many times as you can and get to here. Because at the end of our lives, we will finally realize that there was no there. There was only ever this here, now. Letting that message seep in. This idea of being in the here Being in the here is what it means to drop in. It's what presence is. And many of you are looking for presence and joy and connection. And dropping into the here is where you find them. Yet we spend so much time looking ahead to the there. What do I need to fix or change? So for this next 45 minutes or so, practice dropping into the here, into your body, into what's happening in this moment, noticing the pleasure, noticing the present, whatever it has to offer. And potentially for the rest of the day, set that intention of dropping into the moments, into the here, into your body, and noticing that you and this body are on this journey together. Rather than resisting, allowing yourself in to enjoy it together. Enjoy this big deep breath coming into your body and releasing any resistance, energy, setting yourself somewhere else. And we'll bring your hands together, rub them, create a little bit of warmth. Press your palms into your sternum, finger pads reach to the sky, and set your own intention here about being here or there or dropping in. Potentially practicing dropping in. Little micro moments of dropping in is also where the pleasure is found. Breathing in through your nose once again. And a huge exhale. And pause for a moment here, right here, in this moment, right here in your body, on your mat, on this November day. Allowing yourself to simply be here. No worries about all of the things in the world around us. Just being here in this moment. When you're ready, open your eyes and let the light in. And we'll stretch our legs wide today, coming into a wide angle pose. If you have a blanket or a bolster, feel free to grab it. And find your sit bones. Have a little rock. And you'll connect the ischial spines downward, tilt your belly forward, and reach your crown of your head to the sky. Notice your toes and spread them wide, 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 bringing in the energy into the toes, enjoying your toes in this moment. Bring your hands behind you, touch your fingers, pick your hips up and slide forward a wee bit. Have another little rock. Find your center and your root, dropping in. Press fingers into the floor and sit tall, stack your vertebrae one atop the other. Press your heels into the wall or the space. Point toes. Flex ankles, bring your toes towards your knees. Enjoy that. Lift up hands, bring them in front of you, and walk your hands forward a smidge. Hinge at the waist, back is flat, and enjoy that energy shift in the backs of the legs. Take a moment to be in the here. Notice the floor under your fingers. Perhaps it's cool, perhaps it's smooth. I have this beautiful bamboo floor here. Notice if you have a carpet. Notice if you happen to be outside, what the stone feels like. Wiggle toes. Walk your hands another centimeter forward, not too much further. Slowly slide up. Your right hand will slide down your right thigh, down to your right shin, towards your ankle. Bend your elbow. Reach that left hand over the left ear. Root the left hip down and enjoy the left waist. Big breath in. Exhale, gaze over that left shoulder. Let it feel really good. On the exhale, breathe in. If you have room, draw your hand back a little, breathe out. One more breath here, not overdoing it, giving your body time, there's no rush. In the here, it's just happening. Huge breath in. Bring your left hand to the left thigh, slide it down the left leg and reach your right arm over. Root your right hip downward, wiggle fingers, let it be easy. Exhale, gaze over that right shoulder. Breathe it out. Another breath here. If you have more room, Draw your right hand back another inch or so. Another big breath. Lower your hands to your thighs, coming upright. Bring both hands behind you once again. Tense your fingers, pick your hips up. Shine your heart forward. Press fingers into the floor, potentially cupcakes underneath, shoulders down and back. Let that heart shine forward, fully, fully, fully. Huge breath in. Exhale, let it out. Bring the soles of your feet together as you release. Bring your hands to your ankles, hug your heels towards you, and come into butterfly pose. And once again, have a lovely rock. Enjoy the moment. Close your eyes. As you close your eyes, find your ischial spines. Connect to the floor underneath you. Come to stillness. Notice your hands on your ankles, potentially lower knees. Let it feel really good. Breathe in. Heart shines forward once again and out. Hugging the heels a little bit farther towards you. Press your knees towards the floor. Enjoy that energy shift. Bring hands to maybe toes. Allow your head and neck to drop around your back, upper back, and lower your knees towards the floor a little bit more. Take a moment here in stillness, eyes closed. Coming back to yourself, dropping into the present here. And noticing when you do how your heart feels. And maybe there's a little bit of a sense of peace, or maybe a little bit of a sense of pleasure, no matter what else is happening out there. It is in our control to drop into ourselves, into the moment, and enjoy a bit. Slowly bring your hands back to your ankles, sit upright, stretch your left leg long. Bring the right sole of your foot into the right inner thigh. You may want to turn a bit on your mat. Your right knee is perpendicular. Your right hand will come behind your right hip and will lift up into wild thing. Have a stretch, enjoy it. Notice the outer edge of your left foot. Reach into the earth. Roll your wrists, wiggle your fingers. Let it feel really, really good here. Take a moment to drop into the here. As you do, potentially notice your right palm on the earth, the outer edge of your left foot, your left fingers, maybe your left knee. Close eyes for a moment and notice where you are in space, where you are in the world. Noticing something, maybe you have tightness in your heart or your throat, or maybe everything feels amazing. Lower hips down, coming back to sit upright. Reach both arms up over your head, twist towards the left foot and fold over towards your knee, calf, drop head and neck. The left hand will wrap into the right hip crease here. Lower head and neck, let it feel really good. Big breath in and out. Untangle. Slide back up the left thigh. Straighten your right leg long and you'll switch sides. Sole of the left foot comes into the right inner thigh. Your knee is perpendicular, 90 degrees. Tilt your pelvic bowl forward. Bring your hand behind that left hip and tip up into wild thing on this side. Let it be fun. Notice the outer edge of that right foot. Roll the right fingers, massage your fingers, stretch long, stretch your waist. Take a moment to close eyes and drop into your body right here. Notice what's on the floor. Notice what's in the air. Notice how your heart feels, how your waist feels. Roll your wrist. Lower sit bones down, coming upright. Move the flesh of your seat out of the way. Find your sit bones. Engage your belly, wrapping across, reaching arms to the sky. Twist right and lower down. Your left hand will come somewhere on that right thigh, and the right hand will wrap into the left hip crease. Wiggle toes and enjoy a bit of a release here. Big breath in and out. Untangle, coming back upright. Bring both feet in front, extend your legs long, move the flesh of your seat out of the way, have a little rock, find your sit bones, root them downward, tilt your pelvic bowl forward, stacking your spine, hands light on your thighs. Knees can be bent gently, they can have a little bounce in them. Take a moment here to take a deep breath, sending it down through the sit bones into the floor. And exhale, let it out, connecting more deeply into the space underneath you through your body. Noticing your body, something we've turned off most of the time. One more big breath, hands light on your thighs, rooting sit bones down, grow your spine tall, heart shines forward. Exhale, let it out, slide your hands forward, hinging at the waist. Back is flat, not rounded. Notice the energy in the backs of the legs. Flex your ankles towards you, toes come towards you. Lots of energy shifts. Try not to resist the shift. Point toes and flex both. Point your right, flex your left. Point your left and flex your right. Come back to center. Slide upright. Sweep your knees around and come to hands and knees on your mat. Take a moment to get comfortable. If you need a blanket under your knees, grab that. Spread your fingers wide. Notice your knees under you and take a minute to notice your mat underneath, just dropping into the present. Notice maybe the patterns of the rubber, I don't know what a mat is made of, whatever material it's made of. Notice whatever pictures are on it. Notice how the palms and finger pads feel on it. Notice the tops of your feet. Find your belly in your center. Flat back, slight arch in, tilt in your rear end, slight arch in the spine. Inhale for cow. Increase that arch, heart shines forward, crown of the head reaches to the sky. Enjoy your belly. Exhale, round, suck your navel up, drop your head. Inhale for cow, let it feel really, really good. And exhale for cow. Come back to center. Walk your knees back a smidge, lower down to your forearms, come to puppy pose. Fingers are spread, long, long, long. Drop your forehead. Let it feel good. Enjoy your shoulders. Maybe pick up toes and wiggle them. Lower them to the floor. Notice what's touching. Drop into the present here. Notice what feels good. Maybe allow yourself to sink into what feels good even more. Wiggle. And if something doesn't feel good, notice it. Big deep breath. Exhale, let it out. Slowly coming up to hands and knees, curl toes and lift up to down dog. And enjoy your down dog. Pedal your feet. Enjoy the backs of the legs. Take a moment here to drop into the here. Big deep breath. Raise your left leg to the sky, find your belly, roll your ankle, press your toe behind you, flex your ankle behind you, bend your knee and stack your hip. Roll your ankle out. Let this one feel really good. Drop into the here, drop into your hip. Notice as I cue a different thing to pay attention to, how you drop right into it. We have this ability to drop into the present. It's what you pay attention to is your life. Re-square your hip, extend your heel, Enjoy everything in extension here. Both knees straight, everything engaged, lots of energy shifting. Big breath in. Exhale, bring that foot between your hands. Come into a low lunge here. Start with hands to hips. If you have blocks, you can use them. And if you don't use them. You can have your hand lightly on your thigh. If you need something under your knees, use that. And take a minute here lightly to potentially bounce. Enjoy your right thigh, hip flexor. Breathe. 2 more breaths here. Let it feel really good. Close eyes. If you have blocks, putting them right under your shoulders and pressing into them. Notice what happens to the right hip flexor when you do that. Tiny little shifts make big change. Slowly lower forward on either side of your left foot. Curl your back toe, lift up to a high lunge. You'll potentially bring your foot a little bit closer. Plant your right fist and twist to the left. Reach that left arm high. Enjoy the left hip. Potentially rock on that back foot a little bit. Dropping in. Sometimes is helpful to wiggle things, to notice they're there, to draw your attention. Maybe lift up all 5 toes of the front foot here and lower them down. Left hand drops into the right hip crease. Roll your shoulder, gaze up. Notice what happens. Reach your left hand to the sky. Once again, lower your hand to the outer edge of the left foot. Straighten your left knee here, coming into a long pyramid. You may need to hop that back foot a little bit forward. And shift weight forward and back. See if you can lift up the 5 toes on the front foot. Come back to center. Walk your hands forward, a smidge, hop your back foot forward, come into a short pyramid pose. If you have blocks, use them. If you don't, half lift hand on your thigh, back is flat. Exhale, lower down, release your head and neck, and just notice how good it feels. Let yourself sink into the backs of the legs, all the sensations without resisting it. Draw your attention to your front toes. Lift up all 5 toes, lower them down. Lift up your back toes, lower them down. Walk your hands forward a little bit further and you'll bring both feet to the front, coming into a forward fold. Bring hands to elbows and have a sway. Knees are bent, let it be juicy. Lower your hands to the floor. You widen your feet. We're going to come into a yogi squat. Allowing yourself this invitation to drop in here, sinking hips down, elbows come to your knees, elbows press into the knees, palms come together. Gaze forward. Press the thumbs into your sternum. Close eyes if you can. And invite this idea of dropping into your body, into the present. Practicing. The more you practice, the more you can do this in the micro moments, whether they're in the OR, whether they're in the car, whether they're at the dinner table with the children. Breathing in, press the thumbs into the sternum. Notice your heels, maybe your calves. Lower your hands down. You'll turn your heels to face back and come up to release. Wiggle toes if they need to wiggle. And slowly bend your knees slightly and unroll your spine all the way to stand. And take a minute here and notice how you feel. Let things melt. Wiggle toes, wiggle fingers. Bring your hands to heart center, press the palms together, rub skin to skin. Notice each finger pad one at a time. Press the thenar eminence together and press your thumbs into your sternum. Finding a spot on the floor that's not moving, lift up onto your tippy toes. Pausing here, dropping into the here and now, noticing the wiggling, nowhere else to be. And slowly bend your knees, lowering down. All the way down to the bottom, no rush. One of the things that we do is rush through life, always getting to the next thing, missing this thing. Take a moment on the bottom here to embrace potentially a lot of wiggles and wobbles. Use your thumbs and your sternum to help you balance, and slowly engage thighs. Press those thumbs in towards you, press into your toes, and you'll lift up smidge by smidge by smidge by smidge till you're at the top. Stay on your tippy toes, reach your arms to the sky, interlace your fingers, and your pointer fingers reach up as tall as they can. Growing taller than you usually are, shimmy your sides, lots of wiggles, and your legs may be letting you know they're there, and you'll lower your heels. Lift up all 10 toes, fingers still reach to the sky. Spread your feet heel toe about 2 heel toes, and reach your finger as high as you can. Big breath in. Exhale, tip to the left into a crescent moon. Enjoy that left side body. Inhale, come back to center. Exhale, crescent moon to the other side because it feels good. And we have this amazing full moon right now. Crescent part is going to start disappearing. Come back to center. Open your arms out wide. Press your hands into the side wall. Wrists are flexed. Pinch your scapula. Enjoy it. Tight, tight, tight. Release. Lower hands and shrug your shoulders up tight. Drop your occiput into the shoulder muscles and pause here. Enjoy this moment. Drop in. Notice all the tingles and release. Palms face front. Coming into that Tadasana on mountain. Enjoy 3 breaths here. Notice fingers and toes as you breathe. Channeling the most recent mountaintop you have been on. I've been on a lot of mountaintops in the last 2 weeks. Closing eyes, noticing. Open your eyes. Inhale, reach your arms out and up. Exhale, drip your hands forward, down in front of your heart, forward fold towards the floor. Inhale for a half lift, your back is flat, rear end sticks out. Exhale, lower down. Once more, inhale, sliding hands, fingers up your the tops of your feet to the shins, back is flat. Exhale, lower down. Depending on whether you're at the top of your mat or the bottom, come to plank, step backward, forward, whichever you need. And take a moment here to find your center. Have a rock. Notice your hands, spread fingers wide, shift weight forward and back. Let it feel good. Notice that shaking, maybe. Engage elbows, tuck your humeral heads into the shoulder socket. Find your belly. Bend knees, untuck your toes, wrap your elbows in, and slowly lower down chaturanga to the earth. Inhale, lift up for low cobra. Draw elbows back, weight is out of your hands. Exhale, lower down. Curl toes and press up. 2, down dog. Walk your feet. See if you want to put your feet together and what that feels like. Feels a little bit different. Notice the differences. Notice each finger of each hand on the floor. Come back to your breath. Raise your right leg to the sky. Press your heel into space. Engage both legs. Both legs are straight, engaged, hands are straight. Point your toe. Flex your toe. Bend your knees, stack your hips, roll your hip out. Enjoy it. Drop into this moment in this very awkward position. Not in a hurry to get to the next thing, just to be here. Re-square your hips. Big breath in. Straight both legs, everything engaged. Take a moment to be here first before we move. Drop in. Gently bring your foot between your hands. Come into that Anjaneyasana in whatever way works for you. Might be several steps. You might be smooth and easy today. You do you. Bring hands to the front thigh. Wiggle your toes forward so your knee is not in front of your ankle. And if you need a blanket for that back knee, grab it and be kind. And let yourself shift here. Shift and experience the whole thing. 3 deep, big breaths. Allowing yourself to drop in here, drop into that left hip flexor. Don't resist. See if you can invite a little bit of spaciousness with the breath. Space to soften, space to reorganize. Close eyes. And notice when you close eyes, are you a bit better able to drop into your body? Let it feel good. Practice feeling good. Being in this moment. Many people want joy and pleasure, and that comes in the moment. It doesn't come from thinking ahead or looking back and wishing you'd done something different. It comes from dropping right into the moment. One more big breath forward into that hip. Exhale it out. Lower hands on either side of your foot. Curl your back toe. Come onto that left fist. And take a minute here to adjust, move your belly out of the way. Be kind. When you're ready, press into the left fist and twist to the right. Enjoy your right hip. Reach your right arm to the sky. Roll your wrist in either direction. Gaze up. Straight your back knee. Push your back heel back. Enjoy your calf. Wrap your right hand into the left hip crease and gaze up. Notice the little shifts. Enjoy this. Reach your hand to the sky. Lower your hand down. Hop your back foot forward about 6 inches. Come into a long pyramid here. Rock back and forth, potentially. Let it feel good. Lift up front toes. Oof. Take a moment here. Close your eyes. Drop into the backs of your legs. With intention, invite them to soften, maybe. Enjoy the wiggles. How we get out of the stuck and the mud is to wiggle. How we get into the present is to wiggle, notice. It doesn't have to be total stillness. Hop your back foot forward about 18 inches, maybe 2 feet, into a shorter pyramid. And notice how this feels, likely different. Lift up all 10 toes, send them down, toe by toe by toe. Inhale for a half lift, your back is flat. Exhale, forward fold. Send some love to the back of that thigh. Bring your back foot forward to meet the front foot. Left hand plants on the earth, spread your fingers wide, bend your left knee, twist to the right, and enjoy your right IT band, rolling in either direction. Switch sides, bend your right knee, straight your left. Come back to center. Inhale and unroll all the way up to stand. Let it feel really good. Taking your time, reorganizing when you arrive. Lift up all 10 toes here. Send your roots down. We'll bring our hands to our hips. Bring the sole of your right foot to the left inner calf, sorry. We're going to come into tree pose. Honoring all the beautiful, beautiful trees I've seen over the last 2 weeks at retreats, all in different phases of fall. And even as I returned here last night from Sagrada, every tree is a different color than when I left 4 days ago. Slide the sole of your foot up to your calf. Draw your knee back. Draw your elbows back behind you. Hands are on your hips. Heart shines forward. When you're ready, lower hands down by your waist, by your thighs. Circle them up as branches to the sky. Palms will come together today. Interlace your fingers, reach your index fingers to the sky. Forming this beautiful tree. Breathing in and out. 2 more breaths here. Drip your hands down to heart center. Press your thumbs into your sternum. Notice your palms together, each finger pad touching. Draw your knee in front. And we're going to shift forward to warrior 3 here to fly. Bring your palms into your thumb into your sternum and raise your back leg. Shift forward because it's fun. Reaching arms out. Noticing being in your body here. Noticing the wobbles, the wiggles, all the things. Bring your hands back to heart center. Slowly shift up and lower down. Shake it out. Be really kind to the left leg here. Inviting blood flow. And we will come to stand once again. Root your right foot down, lift up all 5 toes, send those roots down. Trees send their roots down and out. Redwood trees to all the other humans, all the other trees, but we might send them to all the other humans practicing here this morning, all over the world. Kickstand your left toe, left heel comes to the right inner calf. Hands on hips. Find the tops of your hips, press down, enjoy that sensation, a little massage. Slowly slide your foot up to your calf, draw that left knee back. Draw your elbows back, heart shines forward. Notice the slight variation, what it does to your balance. Lower hands, with your heart shining forward, circle your arms out and up. Palms come together. Interlace fingers, reach your index finger to the sky. Shimmy your waist, let it feel really, really good. Bring hands to heart center. Draw your knee in front and tip forward to fly. Enjoy it. Be in your body here. Wiggle fingers. Notice all 5 toes on the earth. Notice any part of you that's cranky. We're calling out. Perhaps roll your back ankle, roll your wrists. Slowly bring hands back to heart center. Bring your foot down and shake it out. Roll shoulders back 3 times and forward 3 times. And pause here. Bring your hands to heart. Notice how you feel. Close eyes. Drop in here. Notice maybe it's getting easier and easier to be in your body. Draw your attention to the palmar surface of both hands. Draw your attention to both big toes with eyes closed. And draw your attention to your belly. When you're ready, open eyes. And we will come down to the mat. We're going to actually lie down with knees bent on the floor. Let yourself land and enjoy it for a minute. Find your sacrum, hover up. Place palms on the floor and draw your knees up to 90 degrees. Soles of the feet reach. Soles of, what is this? The tops of the shins are parallel with the ceiling. Point toes and flex your ankles. Come back to neutral. Raise both arms up to the sky. Palms will face each other. Wiggle fingers. Find your belly. Big breath in. Exhale, stretch left leg long and right arm long. Inhale, come back to center. Stretch right arm, left arm long and right leg. And come back to center. Close eyes and do this. Right arm, left leg. Dropping right into your center. Noticing what it feels like. Left arm, right leg. Come back to center. Wiggle fingers, wiggle toes. Lower your hands to the floor. Reach your right leg to the sky and reach your left leg to the sky. Find your sacrum here. Perhaps rock until you find that center. Come to stillness here, flat on your sacrum. Notice palms on the floor, all 10 fingers lightly on the floor, not gripping. Point your toes. Flex your ankles, toes come to your nose. Point right toe, flex left ankle. And switch sides. Once more, alternate. Come back to stillness. And shake your feet out like crazy, just releasing. Use your center here, your belly. Hands can be off the floor. You can even shake your hands, just shaking, releasing, letting go of all the tension. Using your center here, you're balanced. Should be flat and steady on the floor. Come to stillness. Point both toes. Flex both ankles. Hands are light on the floor. Bend one knee and then the other. Bring your hands to your shins, wrap them around your knees and rock. Noticing where the edge is without tipping over, or maybe you do tip and that's okay. All the way to the edge. Massage your back. We can give ourselves a massage. Come up into happy baby. Hands on the outer edge of the feet. Your knees reach towards the floor. Groin is open. Elbows are on the inside of the knees. If it's fun, straight one leg. And then the other. Press your knees to the floor. Open the groin. Breathe. Perhaps a horse's breath. Bring soles of the feet together. Press the heels into the groin. Enjoy the release. Release your hands. Lower your feet to the floor. Coming into Supta Baddha Konasana. Today, bring your arms over in an easy cactus shape rather than on belly and heart. Notice whether with eyes closed here, can you drop in? Drop into your breath. Pour the breath in and out. Bring your hand to heart. belly and the heart. And notice here if it's easier to be in the body. Notice what you notice. What's under your heart hand? What's under your belly hand? Noticing when you are in the presence, what you notice. Notice the rise with the inhale. And the fall with the exhale. One more breath here. Bring your hands to your outer thighs. Draw your knees together. You're going to walk your feet to hips width. Slide your elbows a little bit closer to your waist and lift up onto your elbows. Then lift up onto your hands. And you'll bring your hands behind you. Your fingers will reach to the back of the mat. We're going to lift up into a reverse table here. Lift up the toes and the ball mounds of both feet. Lower them down. Bend your elbows. Press every finger into the earth, palm into the earth. Press into the feet and the palms and lift your hips up into a reverse table. And have a rock here. Massage your wrists, your forearms, potentially your occiput. Notice how you can shift in all directions a little bit. Close eyes. Notice what it feels like. Bend elbows. Lower down. Lower down to your elbows. And lower down to the floor. Land on the floor. Notice your occiput on the floor. Perhaps the backs of the shoulders. Perhaps palms. Perhaps sacrum. Perhaps soles of your feet. Draw your knees together, feet apart. Reach your arms over your head once again into an easy cactus shape or a T. Notice what feels better to your shoulders today. Huge breath in, pour it all the way down into your groin. Exhale, drop your knees to the left. Right knee reaches energetically to the front left corner of the mat. Pause. Breathe. Pause and notice. And connect with that sense of peace in this moment. Maybe some pleasure. Noticing what feels good. Rhonda McGee says, it's our call to experience joy even as we work for better. So many of us are people who work for better, and the world certainly needs that in this moment. But can we also experience joy? We also be in the presence. That's where the peace and the pleasure and the great ideas come. And the connection and the love. Bring your knees back to center. Reorganize your hips. Reorganize your shoulders if need be. Knock knee once again. And drop your knees gently to the right. Left knee energetically reaches to the front right corner of the mat. And notice here if your arms want to be somewhere else and adjust them. They may very well. When we drop into our body, we get that information. Allow yourself to take a moment and notice and rearrange. Draw your attention to the parts of your body that are noticing what's happening here. And find your breath again. Enjoy 3 more delicious breaths. Back to center. Reorganize shoulders. And we'll come into Shavasana here. I encourage you first to draw knees in and give yourself a huge squeeze, as tight in a ball as you can, even scrunching your facial muscles, squeezing as tight as you can. Exhale and release into Shavasana. If you have a blanket or socks, you can grab them or nothing. Do a minimalist Shavasana. You do what works for you and your space. And allow yourself to soften in here. Melt into the floor, into your mat. Allowing your body to breathe for itself. Letting go of control of the breath. Allowing the mats and the earth to hold you. Letting yourself melt in and be cradled and cared for without any effort here for a few moments. A few moments of dropping in fully to presence, peace, and the pleasure of rest. Feel free to stay as long as you like. It's one of the beautiful things about Zoom yoga. If you feel ready to begin to come out slowly, simply notice your breath again. Gently deepen it, one inhale, one exhale at a time. Letting yourself sink into the joy of the breath. When you're ready, wiggle fingers and toes. And being completely at one with your body, decide what would feel good as a stretch. Enjoying whatever comes to you. No right stretch. And taking your time, once again, completely in your body, make your way up to a seat where we began. When you arrive, drop right in and bring hands back to heart. One hand on heart, other hand at top, hand on heart. Noticing perhaps that connection And here, as you sit, present in your body, I wanted to offer another reading, also by Janet Archer, called The Rush. There is no rush. I hear those words, but I don't quite believe them. I live as though there is a rush. I go to see my mom every other day. I'm usually rushing to get there. I add the trip on to something I was just doing, or something that I will be doing after I visit with her. She is usually sandwiched in between, because my belief is that it saves me time. Saves me time for what, I wonder? When I visit her, we sit or walk. There is no rush when I am there. I rush to get there, take a moment of no rushing when I am there, and then rush away to something else. That is pretty much how my day looks. Rush, don't rush, rush, don't rush. Sometimes there is rush, 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 with no stopping for the no rush. Then there is drop down, flat out exhaustion. Something I have been practicing saying to myself is that there is no better there than here. Driving in my car between here and there, believing that there is something better than being right here, driving in my car, while going there, I stop to remember there is no better there than here. With that thought in mind, I begin to feel my hands on the steering wheel, hear the hum of the engine, and relax my shoulders, my jaw, and my brain. When I'm with my mom, I stop to remember there is no better there than here. Thinking that thought drops me into a space of being present while I hold her hand, rub her back, sit there with her, words or no words, not thinking that doing something is better than this. Typing these words while sitting on my front porch, wanting the words to be done so I can move on to the next thing, I remember. There is no better there than here. That's when I begin feeling my fingers on the keyboard, the breeze on my skin, and the sound of the leaves in the trees. It's a practice. My mind wants to rush ahead. It wants me to believe that where I am is not the place to be. But when I stop to practice, there is no better there than here. I feel the weight of all the rushing begin to fall off my body, slide down my arms, flow out of my fingers, and I begin to slow down and arrive here. That is what it means to drop in. Letting the weight of all the rushing begin to fall off your body, slide down your arms, flow out of your fingers, slow down and arrive here. Potentially feeling hands on the steering wheel, the hum of the engine, the relaxing of your shoulders, your jaw, and your brain. My wish for all of you in the week ahead is to practice dropping into the here and dropping into those physical sensations as a way to practice. May you all be well. May you all be safe. May you all enjoy dropping into the here, enjoying the moment, and rediscovering the present and the joy and peace and pleasure and the connection that comes with it. The light in me honors and reflects the light in each and every one of you. May you all have a beautiful Sunday and week ahead. Namaste.